Hi, buddy. Welcome back to Ox Talks. Thanks for tuning in to watch today's topic, and I appreciate you guys supporting this channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. The main news that came out just a couple of hours ago, which took the stock market as a whole, I think by surprise, was the announcement by President Trump and the Trump administration that tariffs will go into effect immediately, I believe, tomorrow morning. So I'll discuss the story I was released just recently, just a little while ago from Zero Hedge. But the markets have been kind of whistling past the graveyard, so to speak, the last few days. Seem to have digested the Fed situation and the decision to hold rates steady. Today, I saw the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ were all up. The Dow was up, I think, pretty nicely at one point. I saw gold was up again, well into the 1,810 range per troy ounce. Cryptos were doing fine, holding their own. And then around lunchtime today, this announcement came out. And wow, did that send a panic through the markets. The Dow ended up selling off into the close and finished down 337 points. The S&P finished down 30, and the NASDAQ finished down 54. And you guys might say, well, that's no big deal. It really, in a vacuum, it isn't. But the fact that the markets were up, earlier in the day, more than that, or they were definitely in the green. The swing in the Dow was definitely a couple hundred points or more. S&P was probably 50 or more. NASDAQ probably 100 or more. Again, don't quote me on specifics, but markets were green and they finished red across the board. The 10-year bond sold off. It closed out up 3 basis points and finished at 4.543. Just the last few days, I had it down in that 4.5 even range, which seemed to be a bit more of a comfortable place for the markets. So, and gold did give some back, but it finished. I just looked at the close on Kitco. Gold closed at $2,801 and 2801.20 per troy ounce. There was an article that I saw briefly that said it's the best January for gold in over a decade. So again, where does this go? I'll share the article with you, but this seems to me that you may have, not trading advice, not financial advice, but you may have a play into a fear trade now, which definitely would be gold and silver. Cryptocurrencies I saw sold off. Bitcoin sold off down around the 101,000 range. And some of the related coins also gave back a little bit on this news. Again, trading somewhat in connection with the broader stock market. So let me share the story with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments on where this thing goes with tariffs. Again, they go into effect Saturday morning. So let's see how the markets will digest this over the weekend and open on Monday. Okay, but the markets have been, kind of there's been some chatter that, well, maybe the Trump administration has decided to quietly kind of delay the rollout of tariffs, or maybe not be so aggressive on tariffs, or maybe they've reconsidered their position. There's been nothing to substantiate that, but the markets always operate on hopium, right? Okay, so anyway, this evidently, the markets got it wrong if that was the assumption or expectation. The Zero Hedge. Trump slaps 25% tariffs on Canada, Mexico, on Canada and Mexico, 10% on China. Tomorrow, February 1st, the Trump administration will slap 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and a 10% tariff on China, as announced during Friday's press briefing by White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt, who denied reports of a delay to March the 1st. There will be no delay, selective targeting, or slow rollout of phased-in tariffs as speculated by Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank. Well, there you go. The big banks were speculating and hoping that there was going to be a slow rollout and it wasn't going to be as in your face, as aggressive. and that turned out to be a bad assumption. That said, there could be certain exemptions, such as for oil and gas, the article says, which Levitt did not elaborate on. For now, all we have to go on is Trump's most recent comments on oil. Listen to this. He says it depends on what the price is. If the oil is properly priced, if they treat us properly, which they don't, he said Thursday while speaking with reporters. The United States imported nearly 4.6 million barrels of oil per day from Canada in October and 563,000 barrels from Mexico. Daily U.S. production over the same period averaged nearly 13.5 million barrels per day. So in this scenario, full tariffs with zero quarter given, quote, we would expect to see the USD CAD move decidedly higher come Monday, challenging the 150 level, representing a more than 3% move higher in the cross relative to current spot. It says Canada could retaliate with dollar-for-dollar tariffs in absolute terms since its trade relationship with the U.S. is balanced. However, it says USD CAD will still be higher given the U.S. economy is more than 10 times the size of its Canadian counterpart, according to Deutsche Bank. On Friday, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said that any tariffs would stoke an immediate and forceful response. I haven't seen anything come out as of, I just checked headlines before recording this video, any kind of response from China. But you bet it's coming, right? Trudeau says we're ready with a response, a purposeful, forceful, but reasonable, immediate response. It's not what we want, but if he moves forward, we will also act. Trudeau added that all options were on the table. And then he says, so look at Canada, it says sends 75% of its goods and service exports to the United States. So tariffs on Canada are going to be a major problem for Canada, right? He says, this is Trudeau, I won't sugarcoat it. Our nation could be facing difficult times in the coming days and weeks, Trudeau continued. So look, what is Mexico going to come out and say? What is the response out of China going to be? So we have basically, let's say, 3 trade wars that have just been launched immediately starting tomorrow morning. Canada, Mexico, Canada, U.S., Mexico, U.S., and U.S., China. Now, some might say, well, we're already in trade wars. Okay, all things aside, I'm just saying this definitely is an additional layer, and it's something that was announced obviously without a whole lot of expectation from the markets. Let's see how this plays out, guys. If this plays out and these tariffs are implemented, we have to understand the real possibility that costs of certain things here in the United States are going to go up even further than they already are. All right. Now, what items will those be? We can only speculate. I'm definitely not an expert in trade. Again, leave your comments below. But there's going to be pain. We talked about this road being bumpy. All right. And so here we go. There's, this is reality. It's not doom and gloom. It's just this is what's going on. And let's see how it's all rolls out next week. I appreciate you guys. I'll leave it there today. Don't want to go too long. I'm going to endeavor to get a video up over the weekend. But please spend some quality time with family and loved ones. Please don't neglect your health, those workouts, all that fun stuff. I'm finally feeling back to normal here in the office, a regular routine. So again, appreciate you guys. Talk to you all soon. Bye.